Outline title: The Mirror Beyond the Eyes. Theme: How first impressions shape images, while interpretations shape destinies. Characters: Aarav, a young artist who sees the world through emotions. Mira, a quiet librarian with deep understanding. Master Rayan, an elderly philosopher who guides both. Setting: a small mountain town where art and philosophy mix with daily life. Story: The Mirror Beyond the Eyes. Jot 1. The first image. Aarav had always believed that what the eyes saw was truth. He was a painter, young, talented, full of confidence, and quick with his emotions. Every morning, he would sit near the river with his sketchbook, drawing faces of strangers who passed by. To him, the world was a moving gallery of expressions. He believed that every face revealed its truth: kindness, pride, sadness, just by its look. One morning, as the sunlight melted on the water, a young woman walked by carrying a basket of old books. She was dressed in simple gray, her eyes fixed on the ground. Aarav looked at her once and thought, she must be a sad and lonely soul. He drew her face quickly, soft, quiet, distant, naming the painting, The Girl of Silence. That was his impression, an image born instantly from sight and feeling. But impressions are like clouds. They change their shapes when wind of truth passes. 2. The Library of Shadows. Later that day, Aarav went to the town library to return a borrowed book. Behind the counter sat the same girl, the one from the riverbank. Her name tag read, Mira.
When she saw his sketchbook, her eyes brightened. You draw?
Yes, I capture what people truly are.
Truly are? Sometimes the truth doesn't like to sit still for portraits.
Her words stayed with him like an echo. He left the library with a strange confusion. Had he been wrong about her sadness? 3. Interpretations. Begin. That night, as rain whispered on the roof, Aarav opened his sketchbook and looked again at the Girl of Silence. He began to interpret the image, to imagine her story. Maybe she had lost someone. Maybe she carried the weight of memories. Maybe she was hiding pain behind that quietness. His imagination painted emotions that were never spoken. He started to feel sympathy, even attachment, for this girl of his own creation. But these were interpretations, not facts. They were his mind's attempt to give life to an image born from a fleeting impression. 4. The Festival of Faces. A few weeks later, the town held its annual art festival. Aarav displayed his paintings, each one titled with an emotion: pride, fear, joy, loneliness. Among them, the Girl of Silence drew the most attention. People whispered different things. She looks innocent. She looks broken. She looks peaceful. Each person saw a different story. Aarav realized that everyone's eyes carried their own filters. One image, countless interpretations. At the end of the day, Mira herself came to see the paintings.
She stopped before her own portrait and smiled gently. You think I'm silent, but silence is not always emptiness.
Then she walked away, leaving him speechless. 5. The Lesson of the Master. That evening, Aarav went to see Master Rayan, an old philosopher who lived near the temple on the hill. The master was known for his strange yet truthful way of speaking. Aarav told him everything: his impression of Mira, his interpretation, his confusion. The master listened quietly, then said,
Impression is the reflection on water. Interpretation is the reflection within you. The first belongs to your eyes, the second to your mind.
But how can I know which one is true?
Truth doesn't rush. If your interpretation is wrong, time will wash it away. If it is right, the future will prove it.
He handed Aarav a small mirror.
Look into this. What do you see? Now close your eyes. What do you see now? Good. That is where interpretation begins, in darkness. It can become light or shadow, depending on how you imagine it.
6. The Unexpected. Truth days passed. Aarav visited the library again, determined to know Mira beyond his imagination. He watched her help children find storybooks, comfort an old man searching for his late wife's diary, and laugh softly when the cat slept on the reading desk. She was not the sad figure he had painted. She was alive with quiet strength. Then, one evening, she invited him to a reading session for orphans. There, she read stories full of hope and courage, her voice calm but powerful. Aarav felt a wave of realization. His impression had been an illusion, his interpretation a projection of his own feelings of loneliness. He wasn't painting her. He had painted himself. 7. The mirror revealed.
I was wrong. I thought you were sad, but now I see you are full of peace.
You are not wrong, only early. We all paint people before we know their colors.
Her words struck deep. He went home and painted a new version of her portrait, now titled The Girl of Light. But this time, he didn't use his eyes alone. He used understanding. When he placed the two paintings side by side, he saw the journey of perception. Impression had created an image. Interpretation had created an imagination. And only reflection had brought him to realization. 8. The future realization. Months later, Aarav's art gained fame beyond the mountain town. In every exhibition, he placed those two portraits, the Girl of Silence and the Girl of Light, as symbols of his transformation. He wrote beneath them a single line: "The first image deceives, the imagined story misleads, but time reveals what truth is meant to be." Years passed, and Mira moved to another city to teach. They exchanged letters, thoughtful, philosophical, never romantic, but always meaningful. In one letter, Mira wrote, "We live between what we see and what we think. The balance of both makes us wise." Her words reminded him of Master Rayan's teaching. Truth arrives only when impression and interpretation meet reality. 9. The return of the mirror. When Aarav became an old man, he returned to the same riverside where it all began. He carried his sketchbook, now filled with decades of faces and thoughts. As he sat watching the sunset, he saw a young painter nearby, sketching him secretly.
You think you know me from what you see?
You look like a peaceful old man.
Then keep that image. It will teach you something later.
He handed the boy the small mirror once given by Master Rayan.
Remember, the eyes give impressions, the soul gives interpretations, but only life gives realization.
Then he looked toward the river, the reflection of the sky glowing golden. He whispered to himself, "Every image begins outside, every meaning begins inside, and truth waits somewhere in the future." 10. Reflection. The story of Aarav, Mira, and Master Rayan shows that impressions create an instant image, born from sight, emotion, or situation. Interpretations create imagination, shaped by thought, memory, and belief. Only time and reflection reveal whether imagination was true or false. The perfection of human understanding lies in controlling interpretation, not letting it run wild with emotion, but guiding it with patience and observation. Thus, impressions are like seeds, interpretations are the roots they grow into, and realization is the tree of truth that stands in the future.